So, this isn't a traditional film fight, but it is a fight, or rather a discussion, that keeps reappearing about film. Every time a new Jurassic movie is announced, this is the big question on everyone's mind. Should the continuing Jurassic World series present some of its dinosaurs with feathers? Since there's another one of these coming out, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and a new game too, this discussion has come around yet again. Before I dive into it, some backstory. Ever since dinosaurs were first discovered in the early 19th century up until the mid-20th, it was largely assumed that dinosaurs were basically giant lizards that lumbered around in swamps. Even though this kind of thinking is extremely outdated now, that was fact back in the day. I'm sure everyone's seen pictures of dinosaurs dragging their tails across the ground and walking around in an upright position. It wasn't until the 1960s that scientists began to evolve their view of dinosaurs into what we think of them today. The popular perception of dinosaurs didn't catch up until the release of Jurassic Park in 1993. Even though Jurassic Park is far from being 100% accurate, its general depiction of dinosaurs was spot on. It was revolutionary. Instead of having them as clumsy, lumbering reptilian beasts, Jurassic Park presented them as quick, intelligent, warm-blooded animals that held their bodies horizontally instead of vertically. Its sequel, The Lost World, went even further by accurately portraying even the deadly Tyrannosaurus as loving parents. So dinosaurs went from swamp monsters to nurturing animals. But now, the modern portrayal of certain dinosaurs has changed even further, with several discoveries in China showing that some dinosaurs possessed feathers to varying degrees. Most of them being theropod dinosaurs, basically the meat eaters. Although it's unclear to what extent some dinosaurs sported feathers, it is certain that Velociraptor and similar dinosaurs had them. So should the new series catch up? Should it show dinosaurs with feathers? Let's take a look. Let's be clear here. I don't think anyone's advocating for Poultry Park. Nobody wants to see people get attacked by giant, goofy-looking turkeys. Actually, I would love to see that. Just not in this series. Not all dinosaurs had feathers though. Hadrosaurs, sauropods, stegosaurs, ankylosaurs, ceratopsians, certain theropods and so on have shown evidence of scaly skin. So no one's advocating for Fluffy the Triceratops. The two with the most evidence of feathers in the series are Gallimimus and Velociraptor. T-Rex is a big maybe. There have been skin impressions that show scales, but similar dinosaurs like the Eutyrannus have shown evidence of feathers. So with that out of the way, let's move on. The Jurassic Park series has been a link between paleontology and pop culture. There are definitely inaccuracies, but again, the series exposed the general public to fast, caring, warm-blooded dinosaurs. To this day, a lot of people still take the dinosaurs shown in Jurassic Park as factual. There are still people who believe that Dilophosaurus spit venom, that T-Rex was partially blind, and that velociraptors were 6 feet tall and scaly. This actually surprises me. Of course, since my channel name is Tim Rex, you would assume I have some degree of knowledge about dinosaurs, so the idea of them being fluffy is very old news to me. But I remember one time, in graphic design class, I had some free time, so I drew a realistic velociraptor on the computer. And my teacher, who's awesome by the way, was baffled. He's never seen or heard of this. For the next couple of minutes, he went on the internet and started going through images and articles about feathered raptors, or dromaeosaurids as they're officially called. Needless to say, I was baffled that he was baffled. It was kind of an eye-opening experience. Of course, nothing against the teacher, I just didn't know that this information isn't familiar to the general public. So a highly effective way to expose the public to the concept of feathery dinosaurs would be to have Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom show some of its dinosaurs with feathers on them. Jurassic World alone grossed $1.6 billion. Imagine how many people went to see it. All of those millions could be exposed to more accurate depictions of dinosaurs and catch up with modern-day paleontology through tangential learning. basically learning through a medium not specifically made for educational purposes, like how I learned more about 20th century philosophy through BioShock, history through Civilization, and of course, paleontology through the JP franchise. This is probably the strongest point for fluffing up the dinos. Some on the opposing side may argue that feathers make dinosaurs look lame, but there are plenty of great examples of cool-looking dinosaur models with feathers. Take the indie game Saurian's Dakotaraptor and Tyrannosaurus, or the series Jurassic Fight Club's Dromaeosaurus. You can make dinosaurs feathered and still have them look awesome. Just hope that the filmmakers don't make them look stupid. The last argument for including feathers is that it's already been hinted at in previous installments. Jurassic Park 3 didn't necessarily give its raptors feathers, but it nodded to the idea by giving the male raptors quills on their heads. In Jurassic World, Dr. Wu mentions how if the dinosaurs are completely accurate, then they'd look much different. Even though that line is completely contradictory to the other movies, it still left the possibility of fluffy dinosaurs in this series, and could be used to cover up some of the inaccuracies over the years. So those are the main arguments for having feathers in the future of the Jurassic Park franchise. Now for the other side. One of the arguments against portraying dinos with feathers is the continuity issue. Velociraptors and Gallimimus have had scales throughout the entire series, from the first one in 1993 to 2015's reboot. Such a massive change would cause some serious continuity issues that Fallen Kingdom would need to take time out of its own plot to address. In the original Jurassic Park, it was explained that the dinosaur genome was mostly complete and only a few small gaps were filled in with frog DNA. Such a small change wouldn't completely morph the look of the dinosaurs as Dr. Wu suggested in Jurassic World. I'm even going to pull from the book. The creators were concerned that the dinosaurs were too realistic and that the public would be confused as to why they're not slow and lumbering lizards. It wasn't the other way around, that dinosaurs were too inaccurate so the public wouldn't be confused. The whole mutant dinosaurs thing was only added to show how little control the InGen scientists have over the park. They would have never guessed that the dinosaurs would use the frog DNA to change sex and breed. Another issue with including feathers is simply, maybe the filmmakers don't want to. Perhaps they already have a vision for the dinosaurs in the series, and it doesn't include feathers. We see this in Jurassic World. That would have been an easy opportunity to include them, but they still went with the scaly look, and they even went more lizard-like than the previous installments. If the filmmakers think that their movies would be better if the dinosaurs were all scaled, then by all means, they should go for it. Who am I to protest against their creative freedom? We already know that they can make the scaled dinosaurs look awesome, and usually when outside forces interfere too much, movies take a plunge. Feminism in the new Beauty and the Beast, Venom in Spider-Man 3, and do I have to mention the new Fantastic Four? The same may happen with feathers. Perhaps the whole movie would look lame if feathers are just thrown in there, and again, we need to take time out of the movie to explain the changes and fit it into the continuity. Also, it's not a Hollywood movie's job to teach the public. Nobody expects what they see in movies to be scientific, so why should Jurassic World be different? Why should it be held to a different standard of accuracy than everything else? They aren't documentaries, they advertise themselves as science fiction, so why should people take their fake science seriously? The goal of these films is to provide a unique, entertaining experience and provide moral lessons, not to educate like Walking with Dinosaurs or Jurassic Fight Club. It would be like taking Indiana Jones as historical fact, that the Nazis were searching for the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail, and Indiana Jones stopped them from world domination. Why don't we have Indiana Jones Day? He saved the world! So those are some of the main arguments against feathery dinosaurs. This is probably the closest a film fight has ever been. Just letting you know, I was very back and forth before writing this, but in the end I made up my mind. Both sides have very compelling arguments, so I wouldn't think anything negative about someone who disagrees with my conclusion. I can clearly see both sides, which is why I decided to make the video in this format, instead of writing a full opinion piece. So what's my conclusion? In my opinion, the winner is featherless. Now, I'm not saying that I'd be upset if there were feathers. Again, feathers can be cool, but I don't think it's necessary, even for the theropods we know had feathers. Yeah, people basically see dinosaurs through the lens of the Jurassic franchise, but that's their problem, not the movies. The films are just focused on being good films. Although they fail half the time, that should still be the goal, not to educate people. If I want to watch a documentary, then I'd watch a documentary. It's not the series' fault that audiences take it as fact, it's theirs. Who looks at dinosaurs in all their awesomeness in these movies and decides, nah, I don't want to learn more about these awesome animals. I mean, just look at them. Look at them. Like, are you serious? You don't want to learn more about this? It would be amazing if the Jurassic movies inspired you to learn more about paleontology, like in my case, but they shouldn't be the learning itself. What person is crazy enough to take a Hollywood blockbuster as pure scientific fact? And we've already been using these scaly recreations of dinosaurs forever in this franchise. Every movie and video game I've seen and played about Jurassic Park shows the dinosaurs with scales. So why change them? So if I were in charge of making the next Jurassic World movie, what I would do is keep the Velociraptors with scales, keep the Gallimimus and T-Rex scaly too, but introduce a new dinosaur, maybe for just a brief second, that has feathers. The perfect candidate would be the Therizinosaurus. It looks so awesome, and it has feathers. So just put it in the background of one scene, showing off the dinosaurs, or whatever, and then there, issue solved, both sides would be satisfied. Lifetime fans of the series will still have their dinosaurs the way they like them, while the movie will also showcase how dinosaurs also had feathers. But that's just what I would do. What actually happens in Fallen Kingdom remains to be seen. So those are my thoughts on the argument. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. See you next week.